In this video, we're looking at how to keep your horse engaged and in the bubble of communication. So just getting on, I want the horse to be standing still. I need to be able to adjust what I need to adjust while the horse waits patiently. I can see that his attention isn't particularly on me, but he is standing still. I get everything ready, and then before I move off, I want the horse to be in frame. So this is a horse that has a real tendency to shy and is going to shy in today's video. So I need to do my best to keep him in the bubble as much as I can to keep us both safe. So here we go. All right, good. That's it. Well done. Okay, so we want him in frame before we step off. Look at it. If it scares you, don't look at it. It's what I say more than anything when I'm working this horse. If it scares you, don't look at it. It's a good rule of thumb, isn't it, my little friend? This is nice, he's relaxed. We've done 5 minutes of long reining in the arena before I jumped on. So the first thing I want to do is just make sure that he's following his nose. So same rein, same foot. Open the rein. He travels right. So what I really need to be doing is just making sure that I'm keeping him in the bubble. There's no point in my sitting on him and just sort of letting him go wherever he wants or sticking his head up in the air, because I'm not safe. So he's much more likely to get frightened of something and shy and run off if he's not in the bubble. I mean, just so much more likely. So it's my job to keep him occupied, keep his mind occupied, and keep him feeling confident and safe. And that way he won't be so reactive. So I need to be really proactive so that he doesn't become reactive. And I can do that really easily by directing his movement. So I'm being quite particular about where I want him to step. And I'm looking before I get there to where I want him to step. So I'm not just generally, doing a bit of a circle around. I'm actually being really aware of where he's putting his inside foot. So at the moment we're traveling to the... Steady up. Steady up. The moment we're traveling to the left, and is he... That was quite funny, Jazzy. No. So right here, this is where he gets scared. We can see where he just left. And that's when the scary thing is behind him. So let's have a look up there. The scary thing is up there somewhere. I don't know what it is. It's always the same place. You'll find that probably with your horse as well. So what he's doing when we get to here, nearly past the scary thing, is he's dropping this left shoulder to make the circle smaller, okay? So I know that he's getting frightened of something, and I know that he reacts when the scary thing is behind him. He's always much worse when he's traveling to the left, which is interesting as well. But there's something about when we get to here, you can see his head goes up. So it's the first sign, head elevation increases, and he's dropping this inside shoulder. So he's making the circle smaller by dropping this shoulder here. So I'm going to keep him traveling around to the left. I'm going to move a little bit further away, so I'm not going to make my circle quite so big. I'll make my circle a little bit smaller. Now, making my circle a bit smaller has a couple of advantages. The first thing is that it's harder for him to put his head up and do that. You see, the first thing that happens is his head goes up. He doesn't just go into canter suddenly. His head goes up first. So it's much harder for him to put his head up if he's more bent to the inside. So the more bend I have in the neck, the more control I have of him. Now that doesn't mean that I want you to really bend his head around like this. I really don't want you to do that. There's no advantage to that at all, and it really disconnects the head from the body, which we don't want to do. What we really want to do is control the feet, but by offsetting his head, right there, his head's gone up, good boy. By offsetting his head a bit, then what we can do is stop him bracing against us. So if his head's straight, he has that opportunity to really put his head up and brace against us. So it makes it very hard for us to do anything. And that's what he did when he just went into canter then. You know, he absolutely braced. And the first thing that happened when he did that, of course, was my legs wrapped around him and my whip banged him as well. So I know that because I felt that happen when I was trying to shorten up my reins. So, you know, it's really important that you've done the correct habituation work with your horse. And we looked at that the other day. There's some new training in the Can Do Gold section under the first saddling module that talks about that, because it's always the first thing that happens. So if you're having, you know, some of your first rides on a horse or anything like that, the first thing that happens when they do something like Jazz just did, or they shy at something, or they step sideways and unbalance you a bit, first thing you do is wrap your legs around them. So we really need to make sure that they're okay with that. Good boy, look at you. And that was much better. That circle was much better. We got closer to the fence that time. He stayed more relaxed. He didn't drop his shoulder so much. So there's 3 things that we're after we've improved just in these few minutes that I've been chatting with you. So that is absolutely brilliant. I'm really pleased with that. And you see, you know, I haven't put him into trot or canter. I haven't punished him for being scared. No point in punishing your horse for being scared. All you need to do really is just to work on things that are going to build his confidence back again. Because it's horrible being scared. You know, we all know that. We've all been scared at one stage or another. It's awful. It's a horrible feeling. He doesn't want to be scared. He's not doing it because he wants you to fall off. He's doing it because it's his natural reaction. And, you know, he's been in the paddock for about a year. Really haven't ridden him for more than a year, apart from, you know, a couple of 5-minute rides here and there. And that's what he's been doing. When he gets scared, when he's alone in the paddock, what does he do? He leaves. You know, very sensible horse, very sensible. But he has been practicing that on his own. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for him not to leave, which means my bubble needs to be stronger. And, you know, horses, they all have their different personalities, don't they? Some horses are more inclined to shy and others are just braver. Yeah, I've got a quarter horse stallion over there who really couldn't give a hoot about anything much. He would never shy at anything. He would never waste his energy. Whereas this horse, who's interestingly the fattest of the lot as well, will. You know, he really will. So it does depend a lot on their personality. And then for these horses that are more inclined to shy and aren't very bold, then we need to make sure that we've got a much stronger bubble. And that's one of those things, if you've done an e-buck with your horse, see, that's quite interesting, because the e-buck they ask you questions in e-buck about how bold your horse is. So there are quite a few questions that go into that category of boldness. Now, if you do an e-buck and then start training your horse using the can-do methods, boldness is one of those things you'll really see improve. The other one is independence, and the two are quite different. So independence refers to how the horse is being taken away from other horses, and that's quite different from boldness. So boldness has more to do with the horse shying and being brave, whereas independence is more about how the horse behaves when it's been left alone. No, good boy, good choice. Yeah, good choice, little horse. Good choice. So I'm still in walk. It is probably a little bit harder to do this in walk. If he was worse, like if I thought he was more nervous, I would actually put him into trot, because it's going to increase his emotional level just a bit, and therefore be easier for me to build that bubble because I'll have more control over his emotional level. So if you feel that your horse is a little bit more nervous than this one, then just pop them into trot and do the same exercise. Remember, you want to ride circles, you don't want to ride straight lines until you really feel that you've got a bubble, and then you can start moving closer to the scary thing and riding straighter lines. But to start with, you want some bend in the neck and you want to ride circles. And here we are up into trot now. Good boy. The other good thing to do is to always ask for that downward transition near the scary place. So it's here that he gets a bit scared, and walk. No, not stop, walk. Yeah. So I'm going to actually walk him away. This is where he goes fast, when the scary thing's behind him. That's where I'm going to walk, where he gets more confident. I'll trot him around. I'm going to have a new pattern. And walk. Good boy, well done. Good boy. Good boy, and trot. And walk. Boy, this is sort of sliding to a stop, which is fine. So it's a good thing for me also to be working on that downward transition, because it's obviously pretty awful. He's using my walk as a excuse to whoa. That's all right, we'll just work on that at the same time. So the pattern becomes where you used to get scared and go faster, you actually get to walk. Trot. And walk. Good boy, well done. Trot. And walk. Good. So that's the other thing you can do, is when you feel that your horse is tensing up, have a transition. So it brings the horse back into the bubble. I think the most important thing is that you're not just riding for the sake of riding. So you're not just riding, sitting on the horse, going around in sort of circles or around the long side, you know, around the outside of the arena or something like that. But you're actually really focusing on where your horse is putting its feet. Now we're just working on same rein, same foot at the moment. So that's follow your nose, give to the bit work. Not even on shoulder control at the moment. So what I want to do is make sure that his feet go under my hands. If I open that left rein, I want him to step to the left. Good. Good. And if I open the right rein, I want him to step to the right. Good. And when I finish, I'm going to go right over to the scary bit so where he can look at whatever it is over there that he loves so much. Oh. And that's where I'm going to dismount. Good boy. Well done you. Ooh, so brave. So brave.